Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Heat advisory in effect for today and tomorrow with more hot temperatures this afternoon. We're going to see readings come up into the lower 90s across the area, but it's all about those feel-like temps. When you take the heat and the humidity, put it together to feel like it's in the middle and upper 90s. It includes the Valley, Worcester County now, all of Connecticut, the hill towns, a few degrees cooler, but even across the hills, for those of us in the hills, it certainly is going to be a warm day. So certainly one of those days you just kind of use common sense, take it easy if you're going to be out and about this afternoon, drink plenty of water, make sure those ACs and fans are going for a high of 92. The record's 95. So semantics, probably won't be a record high, but it certainly is going to be way above normal. 92 today, 94 tomorrow. Isolated storm tomorrow, even near 90 on Friday with a couple of late day showers and storms. Cooler over the weekend, but still humid with a few showers and storms around. All right, let's check on today's top stories. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Dan. I'm Amanda Callahan. Here's your latest news update from Western Mass News. One person is dead after being hit by a car in Springfield over the weekend. Around 8 p.m. Friday night, Springfield police responded to Worthington and Bowdoin streets for one car crash involving a pedestrian. A man died from his injuries on the scene. According to police, the driver did remain on scene and is cooperating. The incident is now under investigation by the Springfield Police Traffic Unit. The identity of the remains found on an island in the Connecticut River by kids at a summer camp in Greenfield has been released. According to the chief medical examiner, those remains were believed to be Greenfield resident Brian Cornwell, who was 57 years old when he was reported missing in December of 2020. Those remains were found by a group of kids at a summer camp program on August 23rd. The cause of death remains under investigation by local and state police. Anyone with information that can help them is being asked to contact the State Police Detective Unit. One person was taken to the hospital after a shooting over the weekend. Around 8:30 Saturday night, East Long Meadow police responded to a Sunoco station on North Main Street for reports of a man with a gunshot wound to his head. When officers arrived, they found the victim who was conscious and talking on scene. He was taken to Bay State and is expected to be okay. The shooting is believed to have happened in Springfield and is under investigation by their police.